Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, here I am to continue my AFL 2023 three-game match reviews. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the final three games of round 24 of the 2023 AFL season. These three games proved to be crucial in how the top 8 and top 4 looked. Those games are Port Adelaide versus Richmond, Sydney versus Melbourne and Carlton versus GWS. So probably the least relevant of these three games, but still very important for how Port Adelaide's top four hopes were going to go, whether they finished third or fourth, was this game against Richmond. Port Adelaide won by 31 points in the game where both sides didn't make the most of their chances. Port Adelaide 13-16, 94, Richmond 8-15, 63. Port won by 31 points. In the end, they did get away and managed to get away relatively comfortably at the end of the game, but it was a very tight tussle all afternoon. The game, for the most part, for 3.5 quarters was really tight. In fact, with Richmond at times looking to be the better of the sides, they started off really well. Port Adelaide did gain a bit of momentum though towards the end of the quarter. Port Adelaide did get away a little bit in the second quarter, but Richmond's accuracy was really killing them at this stage. It was 6-7 Port to 5-11 Richmond, so Richmond not making the most of their chances. In the third quarter though, that's where Port Adelaide do strengthen a little bit of a grip, but again, a really inaccurate quarter for them. But it was the final quarter, 1-5. Port Adelaide managed to just fly away in the end. 138 fantasy for Rosie, 119 for Houston, 113 for Martin, 105 for Dersma, 104 for Butters. Goals behind, 3 goals for Evans, who was definitely one of them that could kick straight for the power. 2 goals, 3 for Willie Rioli and Shea Bolton. 2 goals, 1 for Power Pepper, 2 for Lord. Disposal, 33 for Rosie and Martin, 30 for Butters, 27 for Houston and Dow, 26 for Short. Dow had a pretty decent game. Martin looked like he was going to be able to tear it apart, and if they were to win, he would have been the game winner for him. 9 marks for Houston and Bolter, 8 for Finlayson, Short and Soldo. Tackles, 8 for Drew, 6 for Rosie. Hit-outs, 22 for Nankervis, 18 for Soldo, 10 for Hayes, 1 for Finlayson and Lord. Team stats now. 52 to 58 inside 50s. Richmond were dominant in that area for most of this contest. Port Adelaide did win stoppage clearances by +3. Richmond were all over Port in the hit-outs. Richmond won contested footy, Port won uncontested footy. Port Adelaide did win the marks and marks inside 50, but Richmond's so good around the contested marks, 8 to 19. Port led for a little under 3/4 of the game, did lay a few more tackles, did take the game on with more bounces, but in the end though, it was a bit of a scrappy game and definitely a game where both sides couldn't capitalise on their opportunities, but in the end, Port Adelaide were the better of the sides, winning by 31 points. So that took us straight into the second game. There was no overlapping in these three games, which was brilliant. It means that every game had its had the spotlight on it, and this game was going to be a big one for the shape of the 8. Sydney, they could have potentially finished as high as 5th, realistically 6th, and could have slid as low as 8th. And Melbourne, well, they could have, with Port Adelaide's result, it didn't really, they were going to finish 4th, but going into finals with form and a win is what they wanted, and that's what they got. Sydney 7-14, 56, Melbourne 11-11, 77 at the SCG. Melbourne won this one by 21 points, and it took Melbourne a little while to get there, but Sydney just, again, accuracy's killed a lot of sides this year, and it killed Sydney again in this game. But look, Sydney started off pretty well. Melbourne did bounce back late in the quarter though. Towards the end of the second quarter, they did get going 1-2 in that term. Sydney started, in the third quarter. The third quarter was theirs. They started off with a banking, the first 4 goals of the term, and they kicked 3 in the blink of an eye. Melbourne did respond with the last 2 goals of the quarter, and then their momentum they had late in the term carried into the final term with them kicking 1, 2, 3, 4. The only 4 goals in the final term, which meant it was 6 in a row. Sydney went goalless in the final term, and they'd be disappointed. But again, though, as I said, accuracy, 3 goals, 8 to half time, 7 goals, 12 at 3/4 time, finished with 7-14 for the day. They wouldn't be overly impressed with that. 115 fancy for Mills, 142 for Gordon, 129 for Viney, 101 for Oliver, 100 for Petrarca, 97 for Parker, Neil Bullen, and Fritsch. Goals behind, 5 goals for Fritsch, who was the match winner for Melbourne. They haven't been scoring as high in the past couple of weeks, but he was really good. Melksham, who's played a big role in this side for the past few weeks as well, kicked 2 goals as well as Errol Goulden. He had 42 disposals. He was going beast-like mode, Errol Goulden again. 30 disposals for Mills, 29 for Petrarca and Viney. Marks, 8 for Mills, 7 for Heaney. Tackles, 12 for Mills, Neil Bullen, Viney. 9 for Wicks, 7 for Parker and Oliver. Hit-outs, 24 for Gorn, 17 for Hickey, 15 for Van Roy, and 4 for McLean, 1 for Amadi and Joel Smith. Team stats now, 51-58 inside 50s in favour of Melbourne. So they did a good job there with the extra 7 inside 50s. They won stoppage clearances by +3. They were all over Sydney in the hit-outs as well. They were uncontested footy. Sydney won uncontested footy. Sydney did win the marks by +20, but marks inside 50 were locked. Sydney led for a little over half the game. Melbourne did lay a couple more tackles in a highly tackled game. And one more thing which I did want to say as well, Buddy Franklin, he got his lap of honour as well in front of the home crowd and fans at the SCG. Brilliant send-off for Buddy Franklin, unfortunately enough. They couldn't quite get the job done for their home fans or Buddy Franklin, but Sydney are playing finals football in 2023. But in this game, it's Melbourne by 21 points. Now to one of the most important games of the round, with the Western Bulldogs winning on Saturday night against the Cats at GMHBA Stadium. It meant the Giants had to win this game to play finals. And guess what? The Giants are in the finals in 2023. Carlton's winning streak comes to an end. It finishes at 9. The Giants are playing finals football in 2023. Carlton 11-7-73 to GWS 16-9, 105. Giants by 32 if you don't mind. And Carlton started off the game really strong. It looked like it was going to be one of those seesawing games which kept on seesawing back and forth with all the lead changes and all that, which it was like that early on. But then after, in the third quarter, the Giants just had a switch that just flicked. But yeah, the Carlton started off really well, 4-3 in the opening quarter. The Giants did have to come back late, but it was a good dominant quarter for the Blues. The Giants started off dominance, but Carlton did own more of that first quarter. In the second quarter, though, the Giants started off really well. It was over to Carlton, who did respond in the end of that quarter. In the third quarter, the first half of the third quarter was tight, but then the Giants just kicked away. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. Of 1, 2, 3. So it was 7 goals in a row for the Giants, 7 unanswered goals at one stage. Carlton did kick the last couple of goals of the game, but didn't really matter in the end. What a win this is for the Giants by 32 points. They're playing finals football, and yeah, they just went on a surge, as I said, over the quarters 3 and 4. They were on a surge. They couldn't be stopped. Now, this stats obviously haven't updated just yet. Alright, so I got the updated stats. I can't guarantee these are fully 100% updated, but I can guarantee that this is going to be the best that I'm going to be able to do. 119 fantasy for Whitfield, 111 for Kelly, 109 for Green, who was brilliant, by the way. That's Tom Green, 107 for Cornelio, 96 for Toby Green. Goals behinds, 4 goals for Toby Green, he was huge. 3 for Kerner, who did win the Coleman medal. He got that out of the way early, but was pretty quiet for the rest of the game. 3 for Riccardi as well, 2 for Cornelio and Owies. Disposals, 35 for Tom Green, 32 for Whitfield, 28 for Walsh, Cornelio and Kelly. Marks, 7 for Wiedering and Whitfield. Tackles, 7 for Kelly, 6 for Durden and Cornelio. Hit out, 34 for De Koning, 22 for Briggs, 7 for Keefe, 6 for Mackay. Team stats now, an extra 2 inside 50s for the Giants in a game where there were tons of inside 50s, 60-62. The Giants won that area. They also won clearances. They were better around the stoppage clearances though. Carlton won contested footy. Giants won uncontested footy. And then marks inside 50, the Giants won that area 8-14 as well. They led for a little under 3/4 of the game, and it was looking like at one stage it was going to be a bit of a blowout. The Giants were playing that well on this surge, but in the end, they don't get a home final at Giants Stadium. They're going to be playing an away final against St Kilda, but I'll be running you through all of that right now. So quick little round recap. Collingwood defeated Essendon by 70 points on Friday night. North Melbourne defeated Gold Coast by 35. Fremantle defeated Hawthorn by 37. Brisbane defeated St Kilda by 12. Western Bulldogs defeated Geelong by 25. Adelaide defeated West Coast by 45. Port Adelaide defeated Richmond by 31. Melbourne defeated Sydney by 21. And of course the big game of the round, the Giants defeated the Blues by 32 points. So what does that mean now for the finals? So Collingwood, they're first. They're going to be playing Melbourne in a home qualifying final at the MCG. Huge crowd that one will be. Brisbane going to be playing Port Adelaide at the Gabba in the second qualifying final. Now, of course, qualifying finals, if you don't know, the winner goes through to prelim, a home prelim, and then a home semis on the line for the loser. Elimination final. Carlton will be playing Sydney in the first elimination final. St Kilda will be playing the Giants in the second elimination final. And then, of course, the winner of that is going to be going through the semi-final to play the loser of these games. And then the winner of that, of course, the winner stays alive, the loser goes home. The rest of the ladder is how it looked. Dogs, Adelaide, Essendon, Geelong, Richmond, Fremantle, Gold Coast, Hawthorn, North Melbourne and West Coast. That's how the rest of the ladder shaped up. But yeah, huge. That is who is the top 8 this year. Collingwood, Brisbane, Port Adelaide, Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda, Giants and Sydney, all in order. There's your top 8 for 2023. What a year of footy it has been. What a 3 games it was. The Giants, they get a final spot. and everything has been decided. So that's going to wrap up today's 3-game match reviews. Thank you guys for smart watching. Please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you guys for smart. Bye everyone. Flame Footy out.